Let's continue now with the Rudy Giuliani story. Joining us now is Congressman Krishnamorthi of Illinois. His district includes most of Chicago's northwestern suburbs. He sits on both the Intelligence and Oversight committees. Congressman, good evening.
Hey, good evening, Joshua.
What do you make of the Rudy Giuliani story?
Well, as the Washington Post detailed, the intelligence community has been warning the White House, as well as others, that Rudy Giuliani has been targeted repeatedly by the Russians for being a vehicle for disinformation. So the latest information that Rudy Giuliani has supplied to the New York Post and other places is nothing other than disinformation. And so it's highly questionable, as well as the sources being highly questionable, namely Rudy Giuliani and, of course, the Russian agents who supplied him with this information.
What would you like the Intelligence Committee to do about this? Is anything being done, or would you like to see something done?
Well, I don't want to get ahead of my chairman, Adam Schiff, but I think the biggest question that we have is, why does Rudy Giuliani have access to the highest levels of government to be able to peddle this disinformation repeatedly? We saw this, of course, with Ukraine all of last year. He continues to meet with people like Andrei Derkach, whom the U.S. Treasury Department has sanctioned and called a Russian agent. And that person is the source for much of his information that he tries to launder here in the U.S. and peddle against Joe Biden and his associates.
Is this an escalation, Congressman, of something we've known about Rudy Giuliani for a while? I mean, ever since the beginning of the Trump administration, one of the big complaints is that Rudy Giuliani had been running something of a shadow State Department in parts of Eastern Europe. Ukraine is extremely important to the United States geopolitically. Borders with Russia, you know, it's part of that region of Eastern Europe that's right on the frontier where the U.S. and NATO push up against Russian hegemony. And we've known this for a while. Is this an escalation, or is this something new?
It's not new. It's part of a pattern. As you know, Rudy Giuliani went to Ukraine repeatedly to try to surface information to use against Joe Biden in this campaign to help his client, Donald Trump. He went to the extent of working with Donald Trump to pressure the Ukrainian government to launch an investigation of Joe Biden. And that's what brought the impeachment of the president. Now, what we now also know is they're reprising the 2016 playbook in terms of dumping, possibly hacking and then dumping information at this late stage. But it goes that old saying, Joshua, you know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And this time, the American people can't be fooled again. We have to question the source of all information coming from Rudy Giuliani. It's likely to be Russian disinformation, and we can't allow it to interfere in this election the way that it did in 2016.
Two more quick things I'd like to ask you before we go. Disinformation is obviously a concern with the 2020 election. We've got enough trouble trying to wrangle Twitter and Facebook and disinformation there, let alone with Mr. Giuliani. How concerned are you about the election's integrity right now?
I'm concerned. I think that the social media platforms are struggling with this issue. Of course, in 2016, they were the platform for a lot of this disinformation, and it was very effective on the part of the Russians and others. This time around, I think they're trying to be more vigilant about it. But ultimately, Joshua, it's the voters. It's us as users of these platforms that have to view this information in its full context, have to realize that a lot of this information is coming from Russian sources or others, and we have to act accordingly. And we on the Intelligence Committee and others have to shine a bright light of transparency on this so that the American people know exactly what this information is about and the context as they approach the voting booth on November 3rd.
And very briefly, Congressman, the president is campaigning tonight in Michigan and Wisconsin. He made some comments this evening about Congresswoman Ilhan Omar of the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, the Twin Cities. Here's what the president said, and I'd like your reaction to it.
We're going to win Minnesota. Of course, having people like Omar doesn't hurt either. Ilhan Omar, she doesn't love our country too much. I don't think so. They crave power, and God help us if they ever did get it.
Before we go, Congressman, your thoughts on that?
It's appalling. It's disgusting. It's unacceptable. This is the type of behavior that the president is known for, which is it's obviously a slur against her religion and her ethnicity, being a person of color and being a woman. This is the type of behavior that we as an American people have to reject once and for all. We can't allow him to continue to pit people one against another, and we can't allow him to continue to sow division and discord. We have to come together as a country. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are the people to bring us together, finally, to tackle our common problems effectively.
And we plan to speak to Congresswoman Omar on our program tomorrow night. But for now, Congressman Krishnamoorthi of Illinois, appreciate you making time. Thank you.
Thank you.